This industry has experienced so much growth over the past few decades, driven by consumer interests in health and wellness, and then growing awareness in just the role of nutrition.
Welcome to the Ultra Healthy Now podcast, where your journey to feeling younger, sexier, and more energized begins. Dr. Nicole Srednicki, who specializes in high-performance health, will dive into practical, actionable tips and strategies that can transform your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Join us as we uncover the secrets to living a healthier, happier life, mind, body, and spirit. Because true health, beauty, and happiness start on the inside.
All right, everyone, are the supplements you're taking actually doing more harm than good? And what's actually in them? I'm your host for Ultra Healthy Now, Alexandra Gonzalez-Ganoza, and we're here with Dr. Nicole Srednicki to uncover the truth about your daily supplements. All right, Dr. Nicole, let's jump right into it. And I know we're all wondering, are there dangerous ingredients hiding in our daily supplements?
Yes. So I'm so excited about this show today. This industry has experienced so much growth over the past few decades, driven by consumer interests in health and wellness, and then growing awareness in just the role of nutrition. And hundreds of billions of dollars are spent worldwide annually on supplements. So it's important to know what we are spending our money on.
Yeah.
Regulations vary between countries. In the US, the FDA oversees dietary supplements under a different set of regulations than like conventional food or drugs. And they've been criticized for different things. How strict are they with product safety? They aren't as stringent as they are with pharmaceuticals. So, it can be good or bad, but basically you need to do your own homework. The first thing I always talk about is quality. Some vitamins on the market may contain low quality or even synthetic ingredients or additives, fillers, or misleading claims. I think Alex and we were just having a conversation about, some of the claims made for some supplements on the market. Maybe you want to touch on that, Alex.
Yeah, well, I know we've all seen all these influencers and celebrities, and I know you guys all know who we're referring to, but a lot of these people come out with their line, and they claim that it's healthy, and they target, innocent people that want to be and like look up to these role models and these celebrities, and they want to look like them. And in reality, just from some of the stuff we were reading, it seems like it's, filled with a lot of junk. And so, Nicole, I wanted you to cover, just like some of the ingredients that or like things that you typically see in these that are actually, again, they're marketed as healthy, but they're completely bad for you. And they don't deliver. It's misleading. They don't deliver what they're promising they're going to deliver, right?
Yeah. So, when you take a supplement, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is making me healthy. But, you always want to look at what is maybe the active ingredient is something good for you, but what have they added in addition? Such as, I see this all the time in supplements, maltodextrin or dextrose, or allergen causing ingredients like artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, even, gluten, soy, dairy. Um, Maltodextrin and dextrose are both essentially sugars. Maltodextrin is also a byproduct of gluten. So, for those of you with gluten intolerances or allergies, this can be a problem because maltodextrin is produced from starch, usually like corn, wheat, or potatoes, through partial hydrolysis, which means it's breaking it down into starch molecules. So, if you have a gluten intolerance, you need to watch out for this. Maltodextrin and dextrose basically act as preservatives to increase the shelf life of whatever supplement it is. So this also means like when they're producing it, they're planning to let it sit on the shelf for years, I guess. So, you can you're going to go through a bottle of supplements fairly fast, so you can avoid those ingredients if you're getting something high quality. And sugar itself doesn't play a significant role in the absorption of vitamins. I know some people will say, like, well, sugar can act as a carrier and help to get the vitamins where it needs to go. It doesn't really play a significant role, and there are better carrier options to get that nutrient where it needs to go. But when you see things like gummies or these chewable tablets, a lot of these are going to contain that unnecessary sugar. And
And they're addicting, like I remember my cousin, we actually, he, ended up having like half a bottle of those gummies in one day, right? Like he was a lot younger, obviously he didn't know, but it's like they're addicting. And I think they're addicting for a reason. And it's funny you even bring this up because the other day, I'm grateful because I know the ingredients you put in your supplements. And so I have that peace of mind, order from you, restock from you, and I don't have to like double think anything. Well, the other day I was at Costco with my mom and we were like getting some stuff. And she's like, oh, maybe I'll get some extra vitamins through here. And then, I'm like, wait, mom, let's look at the ingredients on these. And they're all junk, right? They're all what you just mentioned, like the maltodextrin and all this stuff. And it's like, well, then how much is it actually carrying of what it's supposed to do, right? Like if it's filled with all these unnecessary fillers.
Yeah, it's definitely an unnecessary ingredient. Oftentimes used to put color into foods, medications, and even cosmetics. And the FDA generally considers it safe, but there are a lot of studies that raise concerns about the potential effects on people's health. We've seen things like allergic reactions. People can develop like hives or itching, swelling. Um, Hyperactivity in children has been seen. When you look at labels, not only supplements but also foods, you'll see these things like yellow dye number 5 or red dye. These are horrible, and they're actually seeing more links with ADHD in kids from having these colors. We've seen issues with respiratory illnesses like asthma. Carcinogenic effects
Yeah.
from certain colors, digestive issues, neurological issues. So, you really want to avoid, you don't need artificial colors in your supplements.
Yeah, it's crazy how these things are supposed to be improving our health, but yet they're like loaded with these synthetic ingredients. And, we're all a community of entrepreneurs. And so we know how important marketing can be. And it really, it's a huge decision factor subconsciously for a lot of consumers. And so, it's a little upsetting when obviously you do your digging and you realize, again, all these lines can be complete junk. And I kind of want to, touch on like, just my own previous experience. I remember I was consuming all these vitamins, thinking I was healthy, but I wasn't feeling great. And then, after taking the supplements I should, going to you, actually getting my supplements from someone I trust, I realized, even my ADHD, like what I was telling you, I am high performing. I need to be concentrating at work. And that improved significantly too, right? So it's so important that you actually consume. And like when you're not just consuming these vitamins, like your body's absorbing them. Because I remember I would tell you, like, Nicole, I don't know why this vitamin's depleted if I'm taking it. And you told me, you're like, your body, like this vitamin is junk. Like it's not, your body does not absorb it. And so, well, where I was previously getting it from, right? So
Yeah.
that's really important too.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. And
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is a genetic marker that's very common in the population. And
mhm,
if you don't know your current status, you should get this level checked. They can draw it through your blood, they can do it through saliva, but basically, more than 80% of the population has this genetic defect, and it affects how you absorb certain vitamins, especially like your B vitamins, folic acid. And so, once if you're positive for it, then you can take a certain form of vitamins that you'll absorb better. So, really
yeah.
important that you understand if you have this. It's called MTHFR genetic
Mhm.
mutation.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, have it. Some people aren't even aware of it. And that's, like you said, important to know what you should be taking so your body can be performing the way it should be. So your concentration levels increase, all that good stuff. And, can you give us some specific examples of what to look for when we're looking for vitamin Bs, B vitamins? And then also, you know, we've talked about all the problems, right, in so many vitamins. I also want to give our viewers, some tips on how they can navigate the maze of these misleading labels and misleading marketing and claims.
Yeah. So B vitamins are very popular. And as I just mentioned, you should know if you have this MTHFR gene mutation. And if you do, then you need to make sure you're taking the methylated form of B vitamins like methyl B12. You'll see that on the label versus, when you look at the different types of B12, there's cyanocobalamin, hydroxycobalamin. Cyanocobalamin of note is pretty toxic. It's actually very unhealthy. If you're a smoker and you actually use cyanocobalamin, as a form of B12, it can actually be very toxic. But in general, it's kind of like a cheap kind of B12. So if you see that as an ingredient in your supplement, they're probably putting cheap quality ingredients. You want to find that methyl form of B12. Um,
Mhm.
Same with your folic acid. You should have the methylated form of folic acid. And then there's special types of like B2 and B6 as well. And then just some, vitamin D is very popular. It's very hard to absorb vitamin D. So in general, a lot of people are low in vitamin D. And they say, you can get vitamin D from being in the sun.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to absorb. They say typically it has to be on your low back. So if,
Mhm.
you'd have to wear crop tops all the time. And, um, but when you do get vitamin D, you want to know your levels always. Whenever we talk about supplements, you should always know your levels. But with vitamin D, you should always get it with K2. That helps to absorb the vitamin D. So, when you're taking that
Okay.
supplement, you'll actually absorb more of it.
Yeah.
Another common supplement is omegas or fatty acids, or some people say fish oil, but omega 3s, there's all different types of omegas. I really like omega 3s. There's a lot of anti inflammatory properties. There's a lot of studies done on omegas. It's so good for gut health, for inflammation, even can sometimes help lower cholesterol. But you need to make sure that whatever brand you're buying, one, they are tested for heavy metals, because some studies found that there's a lot of brands out there that are using fish that are very high in mercury, like tuna sourcing, or even some of the salmons out there, unfortunately. So make sure that they do test for heavy metals, because you don't want to be taking fish oil and ingesting mercury. And they can also, with omegas, again, make sure there's no natural flavors. Sometimes, they do things to kind of make them taste better because it is fish oil. Then you have natural flavors, and natural flavors are actually artificial. One
Mhm.
other thing with the fish oil is they oxidize very quickly. So basically, they can become rancid. And so you should always get a brand that is blister packed. Like if you're taking an antibiotic, how you have like one pill per
Yeah.
little area. So that's how your omegas should be as well.
Oh, okay. I love those tips. And just out of curiosity, because like you mentioned before, right? People say, "Oh, I'll absorb my vitamin D when I go out for the sun, or I'm getting my vitamins from my veggies and whatnot." Which that's a whole other show in itself, because after learning from you, it's like we don't even ingest the amount of vegetables we should be. So why do you think that is? Like, do you think previously, since I guess everything was more natural, we would absorb things better? And I'm talking about years and years ago, or do you think we just have more information about how our body actually absorbs these things now?
It's a little bit of both. A lot of our food sources are not as nutrient dense as they used to be, which is, it's very unfortunate. So we kind of have to have certain supplements in addition to our food sources. But also, our environment is toxic. And so our body is like burning through some of these vitamins, or there's abnormalities in our body, so that, when these vitamins go down certain pathways in our body, they're kind of leaving our body instead of getting absorbed. This happens a lot with like hormones. They can actually, because of the toxic environment we live in, it can actually divert hormones down different pathways. Same thing can happen with vitamins. But I will emphasize again, you should know your levels, because I've had patients come in that some I think, a lot of people take a multivitamin. I'm not a huge fan of a multivitamin because you get there's all these great ingredients in it, but there's a teeny bit of each one of them. And I often see that their vitamin levels are all over the place. They could have some levels that are really high and some that they're deficient in. And so you should really kind of get a customized plan for yourself so that you know which vitamins you actually need to supplement with.
Mhm. And, even when talking about, like, some of the ingredients, you always say this, right? You have to weigh the pros and the cons. And so, just even learning from, like, how ineffective some of these vitamins can be to actually having, just fillers in them that, like you mentioned in the previous show that we recorded, last week, it's like your body doesn't even know how to digest this foreign body that's going into them, right? So sometimes it's like, are these doing more harm? What would you think? Do you think they're doing more harm than good when they're filled with this kind of stuff? Or it's like, take it if you don't have access to anything else?
I think that having the right, just having the awareness, learning from things like that, how to read a supplement label. And, it really depends. Some can actually be dangerous. So you
Mhm,
do want to be careful. You want to know where the product is being sourced.
mhm,
You want to try to get, and it gets really detailed, but you want a trusted manufacturer. You don't want to just buy anything because they could be getting really cheap quality, or if it's from a country without a lot of regulation, sometimes there can be other things within it that you might be totally unaware of.
mhm. And, I think, what you were saying, where it's sourced and everything, it sounds like it's a lot of work. I know our viewers might be like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna be, days of research and whatnot." But I promise you that once you go through, I guess, the tough part at first, like your research and then your due diligence, obviously, like you said, making sure that these vitamins are customized to what you need. Um, After that, it's a breeze, right? Like getting my vitamins, it's a breeze, it's automatic, it's clockwork. I know you have a lot of vitamins too that you provide. So if anyone, wants a trusted source or wants to check out the ingredients and stuff, I know that's available on your website. And also higher quality vitamins does come with a higher price, right? But I feel like for this community for entrepreneurs, you need to justify a high quality supplement as part of kind of like your overall business strategy, right? Because you're going to be biohacking for success. And Nicole, I want to, touch on this too. With your experience with so many high performing individuals and entrepreneurs, successful business owners, have you seen a difference in their performance with the right supplements and, I guess, like, health strategy in place?
Yeah. So, subjectively, a lot of times people will actually feel different with a good quality supplement. Patients that are working on their adrenal health or gastro health, or even like their level of inflammation, bowels, things like that. When they have a good quality supplement, they'll actually see the results. But I want to actually back up for just a second and touch on something that you mentioned about, cost of supplements. So, one thing that I like to kind of rule of thumb as well is, when you look at the marketing for certain supplements, is the company putting money into a quality ingredients or advertising to you? So kind of, keep that in mind. If you have expensive supplement, and then there's marketing everywhere for it, how much of that those dollars are actually going into the supplement versus advertising for you.
Yep.
And then backing up again to, you said, it can be so confusing and people think they have to, spend days trying to figure out what supplement.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say really quick. So this is one of my supplements from the Ultra Healthy Human supplement line. If you look at the ingredients, you'll have your supplement facts, and then you always just want to look at other ingredients. That's going to be a key indicator of basic quality. That's in the other ingredients. That's where they're going to be listing those colors, those additives, the maltodextrin, all that. If you see all kinds of other ingredients, next, like, go to the next
That's
one.
where they hide all the junk.
Exactly. So in mine, I have veggie capsules. So that's literally what the capsule's made out of. Some capsules can be made out of gelatin. So if you have like a fish allergy or even religious preference, you might not like that. Or if
Mhm.
you're vegan. And then silicon dioxide. That's actually helpful for your hair, skin, and bone health and nails. And so those are my other ingredients. So it's just stuff to keep it together within the capsule, and then we have the natural ingredients.
Yeah.
Also, when you look at like serving sizes, you want to know how much of the product is actually in your supplement. And this can get a little bit advanced. So you can always like ask your doctor, or you can, look on the internet if it's a trusted source. But what's the daily intake that you need of a certain supplement to make sure that, you're not, again, this happens a lot in multivitamins. There's like a minuscule amount so it's not even going to help you. So, if you're spending money on it, make sure it's a dose high enough that's going to be therapeutic for you.
And no, and what I love is that even right now, like you're looking at your own supplement line and comparing like the good stuff to all the junk out there. So it just goes to show like how legitimate it is. And again, like I know people want to find a trusted source, consult your doctor, whatever you need to do, right? But I love that. I have the peace of mind that I'm ordering. I don't have to think about anything when I order with you. And I just know it's quality ingredients. The other ingredients are not junk and your body actually consumes them. So what is it worth if you're spending your money on some cheap supplements because you think it's the same thing and then they're not actually working, right? So wouldn't
Exactly.
you want to invest a little bit more for something that actually adds value to your health, right? And going back to even like the entrepreneurial community that you serve, when giving them the health that they deserve, even from my own experience with the adrenal modulators that you just showed for stress levels, right? For the cortisol levels, the detox, the supplements I'm finally taking that my body should be taking, it's given me mental, and I know these testimonials from all the conferences we've gone to, but it gives you mental clarity, regulates your stress. There's less downtime. You don't get sick. I can't even remember the last time I got sick. I used to go to the doctor all the time. Just like your health, productivity, how you feel, right? And it helps your decision making, everything. So it's so important, like Nicole said, check what vitamins you need, right? At least that's been my experience. Like check what vitamins you actually need and then get a quality source for it, because you don't want to be putting junk into your body thinking it's supposed to help you be high performing, right? Um, so yeah, really important to check the ingredients listed and how it just really impacts even ADHD. There's so much talk about this ADHD thing. And granted, I know so many people might have it. I think a lot of what's in our environment feeds it even more. Um, because, I was diagnosed with a high level of ADHD and I've managed to get by perfectly with the right strategy in place, right? With checking. And I know that's something we work on together too, which you've helped me tremendously on. And then just other vitamins I can be taking to actually help those concentration levels. And I would actually love if you talked a little bit about that, because I know that's such a concern for so many parents out there, even themselves feeling like they can't concentrate. And I know that's a whole show in and of itself, because sometimes we're fed all these pills automatically, without trying other things first.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to go back to that genetic mutation I talked about, MTHFR. A lot of kids, they've now realized that if they're managing that MTHFR gene mutation, it's really helping their kids with focus, concentration, mood. I've had a patient for years. Since she was in nursing school, and once she started coming to me, she actually comes in for a shot every month of all of these methylated vitamins. And she said ever since she started doing these shots, it helped her all through school, and she was able to focus more on tests. And she like attributes getting through nursing school from this shot, getting these methylated vitamins that she needs. But in talking about the MTH or the ADHD, again, those colors, you want to get any of those dyes out of the foods. I actually, one of my other patients was telling me she actually did an experiment with when her child was young with the popsicles he was eating, and she gave him, a purple popsicle, and it had, purple dye in it, and then she gave him a more natural one, and she said it was like night and day the way he was reacting with, the commercial, the one you can get at all the stores, and then when she switched him to the healthier without the dyes, he functioned better. And you always, you want to watch caffeine intake, sugar intake, and you really want to give diet an overhaul before, with ADHD, maybe before just giving them like a medication.
I think that's so important, and again, I wanna do a whole show on that because it's such a large portion of the population, because, we don't realize how this easy pill, right? You think it's an easy pill, it's this little magic pill, how much harm it can actually do, how much it can actually take away from your personality. So, like, even for me, I remember, I tried them a couple times in college, and because of, my diagnosis, and yeah, it helped me concentrate that day, but then I was like a complete robot. And I would attribute a lot of my success as an entrepreneur to my personality, right? To being able to be empathetic and read people's emotions and then feed into that emotion and marketing myself. And so if I would have taken those, and I'm not saying, this is the right approach for everybody, but in my experience, like if I would have taken those in the long run, I wouldn't be where I am today at all, right? So I wouldn't know the people I know, the connections I've made. And again, that was just because of how it affected me. Everybody's experience will obviously be different, but I would love that if we're a society as a whole, if we were to take this more natural approach that you're talking about first. Like, why don't we try those things first? And then if it doesn't work, take the pill, right? Or whatever it might be, that's recommended for you. But and it's not to say that obviously I do the detox, I take my adrenals, I'm consistent with my blood work and the vitamins I should be taking. Um, and I've laid that foundation for success now. And so of course my concentration levels are amazing now. Like I would have never dreamed to be able to, just be this kind of productive. That's not to say that I have bad days, right? Like, or about a week, or sometimes it takes a little bit more effort than others. But I much rather know that I'm sourcing that concentration and energy from within than something that can cause so many other side effects, you know?
Yeah, I think, the with going through even just the 21-day detox, I know personally, I see a big shift in my concentration, my motivation. So, to the point of cleaning up your system, having like quality supplements, what a difference you can actually feel with
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
I know you have mentioned that too. And then one other thing that I think is really important, in trying to find a trusted source is, sometimes you'll see little,
Yes,
like
the
certifications
certification.
on bottles. So on my bottle to the left of the name, it says, these things are made in the USA. It's with an FDA registered lab. And something called GMP. That's a certification process, meaning that there's good manufacturing practices, and that's a certification that labs need to go through. And just a little bit about my background with supplement formulation. I just kind of got, when I'm recommending supplements to my patients, I just got tired of kind of some of the junk on the market. And, I felt like hypocrite to recommend supplements without sometimes knowing what's behind them. And so that's why I started getting into formulation of supplements so I can ensure that, there's quality ingredients, adequate amounts without all the junk so that really patients can benefit from it. And
Mhm.
it's been really fun process. I love doing this now.
And I love that, and I know this show is about health for entrepreneurs, and so now I want to, also what you just said as like kind of like an entrepreneurial tip. I'm taking a course right now, and it's like you need to. What I love about what you do, and I think why you've gotten to the level of success and the clients that you have, um, and just like such a strong brand, is because you got everything that you did not like from this industry, and you turned it into what you do want to see, right? So at Ultra Healthy Human, right? you are able to provide clean ingredients. You're able to provide that care for your patients. You're able to provide, this new realm of health, combining both alternatives of like Eastern and Western. Like, so you grabbed everything you didn't like from that industry, and then that's your niche, that's your market, and that's your marketing, right? And everything basically for you has been word of mouth. Like you haven't even had to do much marketing, right? And so, even if you're launching, any kind of business, social media, whatever it may be, you need to grab everything you don't like about that industry and actually turn it into what you do like. So that's just kind of like my entrepreneurial twist to it, as I was listening to you and just thinking about the brand and everything. Um, but Nicole, thank you so much for giving so much clarity on this crazy world of supplements. And that's it for today's show on navigating this crazy world of supplements. Make sure to always go over the ingredients listed, the other ingredients that can be complete junk. I know it can be tedious at first, but once you implement everything Dr. Nicole Srednicki mentioned, you lay that foundation, and you do the hard work at first, your life then becomes so much better, so much more optimized. You start feeling so much healthier. And remember, what you input is what you output. So if you like this show, subscribe to our channel. If you want to see or learn more about Dr. Nicole Srednicki, check out some of her supplements, go to her website, ultrahealthyhuman.com, and leave a comment on this show with any topics that you guys want us to cover, that you want Dr. Nicole Srednicki take on. And, if you want any more information, she does all the research for me. I trust her. So bring us with any of the concerns that you have, and we'll bring some clarity to that. And remember, health and wealth go hand in hand. So invest in your health, invest in these high quality ingredients that will make you feel so much better. And we'll see you guys on the next show.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Healthy Now podcast with Dr. Nicole Srednicki. To discover more, visit ultrahealthynow.com and jumpstart your wellness journey with our 21-day detox program, a total body reset, more energy, better focus, and weight reduction. Our carefully formulated, high-quality supplements will aid in a new level of wellness. Don't wait. Unleash the ultra healthy human within you. At Ultra Healthy Human, Eastern and Western modalities are combined with cutting-edge technology to guide personalized health programs to help you tap into the limitless potential of your mind and body. Because true health, beauty, and happiness start from within. Remember to subscribe, like, and share this episode wherever you listen to podcasts.
And before we sign off, I want to make it crystal clear that the information presented here is for informational and entertainment purposes only. This episode should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. And while we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, the content discussed in this podcast is based on general knowledge and research available at the time of recording. Medical knowledge and guidelines can evolve, and what we discussed may not always reflect the most current research or recommendations. If you have specific health concerns or questions, we strongly encourage you to consult with a qualified healthcare professional or a medical specialist who can provide personalized advice tailored to your unique circumstances. Every individual's health situation is unique, and what works for one person may not be suitable for another.
This podcast is a presentation of the Rich Dad Media Network.